And that takes us off to our first topic, which was news that dropped yesterday that I was not expecting and is bitterly ironic, I guess, in some shape or form. They fired Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter, the owner of Marvel initially, who sold it to Disney, who then got ousted by Kevin Feige to Marvel Entertainment, who then waged war on Bob Iger, getting Nelson Peltz involved. And then Nelson Peltz backed down because Bob Iger said he would sack people. And then one of the people he sacks is the individual that got Nelson Peltz involved, Ike Perlmutter, who, again, interestingly enough, is notoriously a penny pincher. So to save money, they got rid of the penny pincher. Bravo. Bravo. I mean, goodness me.
Yeah, this is the one guy who might be able to get you out of this mess right now.
I honestly was not expecting that. What gut reactions when you heard that news, Culture? When you saw that news, what did you think?
Petty, petty, petty. That's what I saw. And the reason being is, and I've said this, I think, in Message in the Mornings in particular, but I'll expand upon it. This is recompense for bringing Peltz into the situation, as Tom was saying. This is a comeuppance of sorts. But here's a guy that I wouldn't mess with at all. He is shrewd. He is calculating. He's been doing this type of high-level chess for longer than even Iger has, the former weatherman. So now he's walking out the door with $1 billion worth of stock, significant investment in the company, probably a magical umbrella over his head. And at the same time, he's now motivated to clean your clock. And he knows lots of these people. Not only does he know Nelson Peltz, he knows Thiel and many of these other people that are activist investors that are going to try to hold Disney's feet to the fire on profitability. And that's something that has been absent from the company for a very long period of time, a focus on shareholder value. And, when Disney stopped doing their stock buyback, that is the point at which you could probably mark the time as when they pivoted in directions to maximize the agenda. But getting rid of the guy who was trying to keep you out of these waters, the guy that was like, Feige needs to end his run after phase 3, that wanted to bring in a new person, getting rid of that guy is not a good look. And if you are trying to preserve a legacy, that's not a good way to go about it. You're taking the guy that got you Marvel in the first place and kicking him to the curb. Oh, by the way, rolling all of the rest of Marvel into the Marvel Studios name, also not a good move. So this is going to be a hot mess, especially since now when they go to renegotiate the IP deals that they have to maintain with Universal for their use of certain Marvel characters and things like that and products going forward is going to be even more difficult because, again, Feige or anybody that's there that gets put in charge of that, they're no Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah.
Those are my initial thoughts. Sorry about that. Long-winded.
No. It's good. I wanted to hear it. Andre, I'm sure you've got a fair amount to say on this.
I do. I am largely in agreement with Culture, but I have another aspect to it. I think this is more about politics and also legacy. Because Hollywood is woke. As I like to put it, Hollywood is woker than Wokerton. And when he fired Victoria Alonso, that shook many people to their cores. How could Daddy Iger do this? He's one of us. He's woke too. So why would he fire this stunning and beautiful Latin ex-woman who is so virtuous? Well, now he has to show that, I'm still on your side. Which is what I think is the primary reason. I mean, just take a look at the Hollywood traits, and also on Twitter, go on to the blue checks or those that were the traditional blue checks, but like not Elon Musk's new breed of blue checks, but the traditional ones, the virtue signaling ones that did good by the regime. Basically, look at their response. they're all celebrating. They're rejoicing over this. Look at the headline and Deadline Hollywoods and everything. They all deliberately used pictures of Perlmutter and the Orange Man bad because he's a friend of Trump. In Hollywood, this guy is viewed as a MAGA extremist, which is code for regular conservative, and they hate him for it. In getting rid of this guy, Bob Iger, he gets a few brownie checkbooks, or brownie, what's the
Brownie points.
brownie points. He gets a few brownie points back again because he was like, yeah, okay, fine. You got rid of Alonso, but now we see that was just business because you got away with this hated dude as well. I mean, look at all the virtuous responses. It's like, I should have got rid of him a long time ago. Celebration, party. Everyone is super happy and stoked. And the irony is that of all the people in Disney, this is the one who may have made them the most money. Because as it is right now, Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige's division, over the course of Phase 4, has lost them hundreds of millions. Where the money in Marvel is right now is in merch and licensing. And the one in charge of that, up until yesterday, was Perlmutter. So he got rid of one of the money earners in the company. So yeah, I think this is like, okay, I need me some brownie points back.
Well, to be fair, he's been defanged now since about 2013, 14, 15, somewhere in there. Because and they spread a bunch of nonsense about him being racist and against Black Panther and Captain Marvel being made, which that's only half true. Because he was behind a Black Panther getting made when Wesley Snipes was the star. That was a bit different, but he didn't want him brought in with a no-name actor at that time playing him, and he said that Captain Marvel was not a popular character. And granted, he is also responsible for some other horrible things that happened behind the scenes. Like when X-Men, that whole thing was being famous, he sabotaged them in the comics. I'm not saying the guy's innocent, but at the same time, he's the guy who said, oh, you want more money? Tough shit, make it work. And through through that, I mean, we got decent films.
He's also the one who pushed for the Inhumans on Netflix, which was a complete and total disaster. But that was his X-Men replacement both in the comics and on Netflix. Unfortunately, it was Jeff Loeb that hired that. He was the one that ran all of the Netflix stuff. And Jeff Loeb, he lucked out with his showrunners on Daredevil, but elsewhere, especially on the Inhumans, he showed his true incompetent self, hiring the worst of the worst, and the result of that is on screen.
Goodness me, Tom, what did you think when you saw this news?
Nah, it's pretty much it right there. Like Andre said it best. That was all I could really add to it, was that he was ousted in favor of Captain Marvel and Feige so he could do his thing. And I'm sure Victoria Alonso and a few of the other people played a big, huge part in that. Because if you go by Iger's story in his book, Iger himself keyed in on Captain Marvel as the next character he wanted to highlight in the Marvel universe. And he went to Kevin Feige, and Feige said, oh, I feel the same way. In fact, I would love to do a Captain Marvel movie, but it's this damn Ike Perlmutter. He just won't let us. He says that Black characters and female characters don't sell figures. So they basically took all his power away. They usurped him.
Goodness me. I mean, that was, to me, when I saw it, I genuinely couldn't believe it. It was just super shocking. The internal politics of it all as well are monumental. But I wonder, do any of you guys think that this will come back to bite Bob Iger in the ass? Because, of course, Nelson Peltz.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, right? Nelson, yeah.
Maybe, but I also said yesterday that this might have been just a tit for tat firing because, like I said, Perlmutter has no real power anymore. So firing him did a whole lot of nothing. It just gave him a parachute, really. But I want to hear what you have to say.
And it gave Iger some brownie points.
That's what I was getting to. Is like basically it gave him some brownie points after firing Alonso, right? Because all the same people that were freaking out about Alonso are the ones out there high-fiving themselves right now over Perlmutter. And it's like, great, you just defanged a defanged person who had no power already. But anyway, Culture, you were going to say something else. I'm curious what you were going to say.
No, I mean, all I was going to say is reiterate that I think that as Andre said, this is a guy who controlled the things that were still actually making money, which was the merchandising side of the equation in phase 4. And again, the deals that they have to cut, regularly with Universal and their continuing battle over the IP, east of the Mississippi River, because that's how that deal worked out. You don't have anybody qualified to play hardball on that level with Universal Comcast at this point. I mean, maybe you do. I mean, Feige certainly isn't the guy. So, I mean, is Iger going to take care of that personally? And then, sure, you save money by eliminating an entire department, but at the same time, you're doubling down on a studio that's been underperforming for over a year with 14 different projects that only one of which we could argue made actual profit. I don't see it as an upside, and maybe you're right, Tom. It was tit for tat, and if so, it was poor business because
I think it was a political firing. Yes,
and that's possible, but at the same time, that's very petty. I said it at the beginning of my first reaction: petty, petty, petty. That is. Now you created a monster. I feel like at this point, Obi-Wan lifted up his lightsaber and and took one for the team. And that's a problem for Disney. I know I selected the wrong franchise, but there you are. I think you just plucked the stone out of Vision's head. Whatever you want to think of it as, but I'm looking at it going, this is not okay.
Well, I can't wait to see whether Nelson Peltz gets involved again, because they've got to say they got to do 5.5 billion in cuts. They've got to start making money, and if they don't, he'll be back.
Dividend. I think he's going to be back already. Andre, the shareholders meeting is Monday, right? The 3rd.
I think so.
That is the 3rd. It's Monday, so right. If that's when it is. Yeah. Oh, it's a shit show. This is what I mean. The demise of Disney and Marvel. So obviously that's Disney's side of things / Marvel's as well. This is them trying to get their ducks in a row, I guess, for sort of centralizing the internal sort of politics of the business. That's the way I see it. You remove the guy that started to cause waves and a ruckus. He's defanged anyway, but you removed him. And then they had to get rid of Alonso because she's just a dumbass who broke a contract like an idiot. So you're starting to get your ducks in a row for centralization. I mean, who's going to take control of everything now? Well, it'll be Kevin Feige will take control of Marvel as a whole, I'm sure. He'll do Marvel Entertainment as well as Marvel Studios. Like, who else are they going to do it? But that's, it's just a centralization of, the sort of politics, the ideological elements.
Yeah.
Which will only lead to it being worse off, because you have Kevin Feige, the individual who's behind currently, the demise of the MCU, if you want to call it that, the slow degradation of the MCU. It's not become, they're slowly losing money. Each film, Ant-Man and the Wasp hasn't even broken even. So it's not even turned a profit, not even close to turning a profit. And then you're going to put more power into that guy? Bravo. Stunning and brave. That's not good. Super dumb. Super, super dumb.